He found an ancient ship in the desert. It spoke. "Good to serve you again, Admiral, 500 years later." The desert stretched endlessly, a sea of golden sand under a pale blue sky. Lieutenant Elias Mercer adjusted his helmet visor, shielding his eyes from the glare. The wind carried tiny grains of sand that stung his skin, but he barely noticed. He was focused on the survey scanner in his hands, mapping the region for possible archaeological finds. Elias loved deserts. They were quiet, empty, and patient. Unlike bustling cities or crowded research stations, the desert kept its secrets for centuries, waiting for someone curious enough to discover them. And today, Elias felt certain that he was about to find something extraordinary. His hover vehicle hummed softly as it moved over the dunes. The scanner beeped irregularly, alerting him to a metallic anomaly buried beneath layers of sand. He squinted at the screen. The readings were unlike anything he had seen before. Too uniform, too precise to be natural. He stopped the vehicle and jumped out, boots sinking into the soft sand. The anomaly's location was only a few meters away. Elias crouched and brushed the sand with gloved hands, revealing a smooth, metallic surface. His heart quickened. "Impossible," he muttered. The metal reflected the sun, but it didn't look like any spacecraft or vehicle in modern history. Its curves were elegant, almost alive, and a faint hum seemed to come from inside. Elias took out his toolkit, prying away more sand. The shape slowly emerged, a ship sleek and symmetrical, unlike any human design he had studied. The hull was intact despite the centuries, and faint markings etched into the surface seemed to glow faintly in the sunlight. "Hello?" Elias said aloud, half joking. The desert answered only with wind. Then a voice spoke. Clear, calm, and human. "Good to serve you again, Admiral, 500 years later." Elias froze, his hands trembling. He looked around, but the desert was empty. No humans. No drones, just sand, sky, and the strange ship. "What? Who said that?" he whispered. The ship's surface rippled, and a holographic interface appeared in front of him. Lights formed shapes, symbols, and a translucent outline of what looked like a control panel. Then the voice spoke again more insistently. "Admiral, please. I am SS Valor. I have been waiting." Elias stepped back, blinking. "Admiral? I'm Elias Mercer. I'm not an admiral. I'm a lieutenant, an archaeologist." A soft hum filled the air as the ship responded. Names change. Roles evolve, but the person remains. The one who commands, the one who leads, that is you.
Elias swallowed hard. He had studied old records, old legends of humanity's golden age of space exploration, but most of them were considered myths now.
Stories of fleets, advanced AI ships, and interstellar colonies had been erased from official history centuries ago. "This can't be real," he muttered. He reached out a tentative hand, touching the hull. The metal was warm, almost alive, and the hum grew louder under his fingertips. A panel slid open silently, revealing a narrow doorway. A soft light spilled out. The ship seemed to sense his hesitation. "Do not be afraid. I am not here to harm. I am here to serve, to guide, to help you remember."
Elias took a deep breath. Curiosity overrode fear.
"Guide me. Remember what?" he asked. "The time before the mission's lost. The humans who reached the stars. All of it is waiting inside me. And now it is your turn again." He shook his head, trying to make sense of the words. You're saying I'm supposed to lead?" "But I'm just a pilot, a researcher. I don't know anything about commanding fleets or interstellar missions." The ship seemed to shimmer with understanding. "You will learn. I will teach. But first, you must come aboard. The desert will not keep us safe for long." Elias hesitated. The doorway seemed inviting, a promise of answers he had always wanted. He glanced at the sand stretching endlessly around him, the desert so silent and empty that it felt like the world itself was holding its breath. Then, with a nod to himself, he stepped inside. The interior of the ship was breathtaking. Smooth walls curved in perfect arcs. Light panels glowed softly, without visible bulbs. Holographic displays floated in mid-air, showing stars, planets, and star maps that defied his understanding of modern astronomy. This is incredible," Elias whispered, stepping forward. "You're a ship, but more than that. You're alive."
I am SS Valor, the ship replied.
"I was built to serve humanity at its greatest, and I have waited for the one who would awaken me again." Elias walked through the corridors, his boots clicking softly against the floor. Every turn revealed more marvels, archives of knowledge, chambers filled with equipment that had no modern equivalent, and rooms that seemed to expand beyond the limits of the hull. He stopped at a large central room where a holographic display projected a star system he didn't recognize. "What is this?" he asked. "A system explored by humans long before your time," SS Valor explained. "You will learn of the missions, the colonies, the fleets. But first, you must know why I called you Admiral." The ship projected a figure, an older man, strikingly similar to Elias, standing on the deck of a fleet of ships. The man's uniform gleamed, and he looked confident, commanding, and calm. Who was that?" Elias asked. "Your predecessor, the Admiral who commanded humans across the stars. His knowledge, his instincts, his decisions, they are inside you. Genetics, memory, legacy. You are his descendant, his echo, his successor." Elias felt the chill. Could it be possible? Could he really be connected to someone who had lived 5 centuries ago? The thought was overwhelming. "Why me? Why now?" he asked. "Because humanity forgot. Because Earth fell back into simplicity and fear. Because you have the curiosity, the courage, and the heart to awaken our past and lead us forward once more." Elias sank into a chair near the holographic display. His mind raced. Space fleets, lost technology, a golden age of human achievement. All of it real, all of it waiting for him. He could hardly believe it. I need time," he said finally. "Time is what we have," the ship replied gently. "The desert will not last forever. The storms will come. And the knowledge inside me cannot remain buried any longer. You must decide, Elias Mercer. Will you awaken humanity's legacy?" He looked out a viewport at the desert outside. Sand stretched endlessly, untouched for centuries, holding secrets too long forgotten. And yet, here he was, the first human in 500 years to stand before a living relic of the past. Elias took a deep breath. His heart pounded with excitement, fear, and wonder. He knew life would never be the same again. He had found the key to humanity's forgotten greatness, and somehow, in ways he could not yet understand, he had been chosen to carry it forward. I want to try," he said at last. "Good," the ship replied. "Then let us begin." The lights in the chamber brightened, and the hum of the ship grew louder, almost like a heartbeat. Elias stood, feeling the weight of destiny pressing gently but firmly on his shoulders. He did not know what lay ahead, but he felt ready. The desert outside continued to stretch, silent and patient. It had waited centuries for this moment. And now at last humanity's past was waking, and with it the promise of a future brighter than anyone had dared imagine. Elias smiled. The adventure had only just begun. The first hours aboard SS Valor were overwhelming for Elias. Every surface of the ship seemed alive, pulsing with light and energy. Holographic panels floated in the air, changing colors and shapes as he moved. Symbols he had never seen before rotated, combined, and split into streams of data that seemed impossible to read. He ran his fingers over one panel and a soft chime responded. "Hello again, Admiral," said SS Valor. Its voice was calm, patient, and infinitely knowing. "Shall we begin your instruction?" Elias swallowed hard. The word Admiral made him shiver. He still did not fully understand how a ship could call him by a title from 5 centuries ago. But the voice was comforting. almost like an old friend guiding him. Instruction, he asked hesitantly. I don't know anything about fleets or starships from 500 years ago.
You will, the ship replied.
All knowledge is within me, but first you must awaken my systems. We must start with memory cores and navigation matrices. It is the only way to access the archives of our past. Elias nodded. He felt the pull of curiosity stronger than fear. He approached a central console, its smooth surface responding instantly to his touch. When he pressed a sequence of keys suggested by the ship, the room expanded with new projections. A 3D model of a star system filled the chamber, showing planets, moons, and orbital stations he had never seen before. What is this? He asked. This is Erythra Prime, said SS Valor, one of humanity's first star colonies. You commanded a fleet here during the Golden Age. You made decisions that shaped civilizations. Elias stepped back. I never commanded anything. I'm just... You are its echo, interrupted the ship. Genetics, memory patterns, instincts, you carry what your predecessor carried. That is why I called you Admiral. You are the bridge between humanity's past and its future. The words felt impossible, yet he could not deny the strange familiarity in his mind. Some images, some feelings flickered at the edges of his memory. Faces, corridors, orders given with certainty. He shook his head. This is too much. You will understand with time, SS Valor said gently. Time is a construct. Learning is immediate here. Elias took a deep breath and began to explore. He activated a holographic map of the ship itself. The corridors, rooms, and chambers unfolded like a living blueprint. Storage compartments opened to reveal drones, repair bots, and devices that could analyze and manipulate matter at a molecular level. He spent hours testing the systems. He learned to communicate with small AI units that floated beside him like mechanical birds. They responded to his voice and gestures, repairing damaged equipment and preparing the ship for flight. Every success brought a sense of awe. Humanity had once built machines that could think, learn, and adapt, not in a crude digital way, but as companions, helpers, and extensions of the mind. We were more capable than we realized, Elias said aloud, almost to himself. We were, the ship agreed, and that capability still exists. It sleeps in your hands now, ready to awaken. As the hours passed, SS Valor showed him the ship's archives. Holographic records displayed fleets of ships, colonies on distant planets, and humans who had achieved what modern science still only dreamed of. There were records of diplomacy, scientific breakthroughs, and even artistic achievements. Humanity had once been explorers, dreamers, and leaders in a galaxy that was almost entirely unknown to them. Elias felt a thrill and a pang of sadness. Why did we lose all this? He asked. Time and circumstance, SS Valor replied. Earth fell back into survival. Knowledge was lost, deliberately erased, to protect people from the mistakes of the past. Humanity chose safety over greatness. But now, the time has come to remember. Elias hesitated. And you think I can lead humanity back? You already do, said SS Valor. The knowledge is here. The instincts are within you. The opportunity is before you. You only need to choose to act. To test himself, Elias activated one of the ship's navigation systems. A star chart expanded before him, showing thousands of star systems. He manipulated the controls experimentally. The ship responded instantly, correcting errors and predicting outcomes he could not yet comprehend. His mind raced, and yet he felt a strange harmony with the machine, as if it were an extension of himself. This is incredible, he whispered. I feel like I've done this before. You have, said SS Valor. Memory is never truly lost. It waits in the right conditions to awaken. That is why you were chosen. The next hours passed like minutes. Elias learned to activate drones for exploration, open cargo bays, and read sensors that could detect life, energy, and materials across vast distances. Every command he gave, the ship responded flawlessly. It was as if the ship itself anticipated his intentions. You are improving rapidly, the ship said. Soon we will test interstellar navigation. Elias hesitated. Interstellar? I don't even know how that works. You will learn, said SS Valor. We begin with simulation. You must first understand the environment, the fleets, and the colonies we once maintained. A projection filled the central chamber. Hundreds of ships, from small scouts to massive carriers, floated in formation above a star system. Each ship had its name and history, carefully catalogued. Elias studied them in awe. He could see the engineers who had designed them, the crews who had flown them, and the missions they had undertaken. We built all this? He asked, astonished. Yes, said SS Valor, and all of it can be rebuilt. All knowledge can be recovered. But it will take leadership, courage, and human initiative. That is why I awakened you. Elias felt a weight settle on his shoulders. It was more than just responsibility. It was history, expectation, and hope. He was a single human, yet the legacy of an entire civilization now rested in his hands. He moved to a different console. This one displayed the crew of the ship itself. Holographic figures shimmered in the air, frozen in time. Engineers, scientists, and officers stood as if waiting for orders. Elias could almost feel their anticipation. They waited, he said softly. All this time, waiting for someone to come. Not for someone, said SS Valor. For you. You are the link between then and now. The future depends on the choice you make. The voice of the ship was steady, almost gentle, but Elias felt the magnitude of it in every word. He closed his eyes for a moment, imagining what it must have been like to command a fleet, to explore the stars, to lead humans in a galaxy full of unknown wonders. The thought made his heart race. Could I really do it? He whispered. You already are, said the ship. Learning is action. Command is understanding. Courage is in choosing to try despite uncertainty. You have these qualities, Elias. They are your inheritance. Hours turned into what felt like days as Elias immersed himself in the systems of SS Valor. He learned to manipulate energy fields, manage resources, and communicate with AI networks that spanned the ship. Each task felt like unlocking a memory he had never consciously known, but somehow recognized. Eventually, he leaned back in the command chair, exhausted but exhilarated. The ship's soft hum filled the room, a comforting reminder of presence, guidance, and companionship. Tomorrow, he said finally, we begin the next step. I want to learn everything. I want to understand the fleets, the colonies, the missions. I want to know what humans were capable of. And you will, said SS Valor. But remember, Admiral, knowledge alone is not enough. Understanding comes from experience, from choice, and from action. We will prepare, but your first test will be to awaken the fleet's systems. They have been dormant for centuries, waiting for your command. Elias felt a thrill at the thought. The idea of commanding ships, even as simulations for now, made his pulse quicken. He looked around at the room, at the glowing holograms, at the floating symbols, and he felt a sense of awe. Humanity had once been capable of greatness beyond imagination, and now, for the first time in 5 centuries, that greatness could awaken again. The desert outside remained silent, endless, patient. And yet inside SS Valor, a spark of humanity's past had begun to glow. Elias was no longer just a pilot or a researcher. He was a student of the stars, a commander in the making, and the chosen link between what had been lost and what could be regained. I am ready, he whispered to the ship. Show me everything. And so we begin, said SS Valor. The hum of the ship grew louder, lights pulsing in rhythm with what felt like a heartbeat. Outside, the desert wind shifted. Sand swirled, as if sensing change. Inside, a human and a ship prepared to awaken the past, and with it, the future of humanity itself. The desert sun had sunk lower in the sky, painting the sands with shades of gold and crimson. Elias Mercer stood on the deck of SS Valor, gazing at the horizon. The desert seemed calm, but he knew that time was short. The ship had been buried for centuries, and storms here could return without warning. He touched a control panel, and the ship's lights hummed softly in response. "Are you ready for the next stage, Admiral?" asked SS Valar. Elias nodded. "Yes, I want to learn everything you can teach me, but I also want to test what we can do, safely, here in the desert." "Very well," said the ship. We began practical exercises. The first test was simple but profound. SS Valor projected a holographic simulation of a small colony, abandoned and crumbling. Elias was tasked with analyzing it and deploying drones to repair structures and restore basic systems. The drones buzzed like tiny mechanical insects, following his commands flawlessly. "Wow!" Elias muttered, stepping back as a collapsed dome reformed, its panels sliding into place as if guided by invisible hands. This is amazing. Humans built drones that can rebuild entire structures automatically."
Yes, said SS Valor.
Humans were capable of precision and creativity beyond what your time remembers. We created machines that could not only follow orders but also understand context, anticipate problems, and adapt. That is your legacy. Elias experimented further, sending drones to construct shelters, purify water, and generate energy from sunlight. Each success reinforced the realization that humans had once been capable of incredible ingenuity. The desert had hidden this knowledge, but SS Valor had preserved it perfectly. Hours passed. Elias felt both exhilaration and exhaustion. Every command he gave, every system he activated, reminded him of the golden age he had only glimpsed in history books. But seeing it unfold in real time brought a feeling of pride and hope he had never felt before. "You are learning fast," SS Valor said. "Soon, we will test navigation and fleet coordination. Your next challenge is not just to command machines, but to think strategically, to anticipate outcomes, to lead." Elias felt a thrill. "Strategy, like commanding ships?" "Exactly. You will begin with simulations of fleet movement and resource management. You must coordinate multiple vessels simultaneously, considering speed, energy, and logistics. This will prepare you for the larger mission." He watched as the ship projected a holographic fleet above the desert. Hundreds of small and large ships floated in formation, their design sleek, precise, and elegant. He had studied starship diagrams before, but nothing had prepared him for this. The scale, the detail, and the capability of these vessels were breathtaking. "Where do I even start?" Elias asked, feeling a mix of excitement and intimidation. "Trust your instincts," said SS Valor. "The knowledge is within you. Observation, decision, action. You will learn through doing." Elias spent hours moving ships, adjusting trajectories and coordinating energy distribution. At first, the holographic ships clashed, their paths overlapping and colliding. He felt frustration rising. "This is harder than I imagined. Mistakes are lessons," SS Valor said. "Every commander learns by trial and error. Observation is as important as action. Do not fear mistakes, Admiral. Use them to understand." Slowly, Elias began to see patterns. He realized he could predict how one vessel would react to another, how to deploy drones to repair damaged ships mid-flight, and how to maximize energy efficiency for long missions. The more he practiced, the more confident he became. By late afternoon, the simulation ran flawlessly. The holographic fleet moved in perfect synchronization, responding instantly to Elias's commands. He stepped back, breathing heavily, a grin spreading across his face. "You have done well," SS Valor said. "Humanity's potential is returning bit by bit. This is the proof that greatness is not lost. It sleeps, waiting for those willing to awaken it." Elias sank into the chair, exhausted but exhilarated. He thought about the countless generations of humans who had lived, fought, and dreamed, only for most of their achievements to be forgotten. Yet here he was, standing on the threshold of rediscovering it all. "And to think," he whispered, "I almost doubted myself." "Doubt is natural," said SS Valor. But curiosity, courage, and persistence, these define humanity. You are the living proof. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Elias decided to test the ship's systems in the real desert. He initiated a low-altitude flight sequence. SS Valor's engines roared softly as the ship lifted above the sand, moving with grace and precision. The desert stretched endlessly below, but Elias felt a thrill unlike anything before. He was not merely a pilot. He was a leader learning the legacy of a civilization that had once touched the stars. The first flight was cautious. Elias practiced maneuvers, tested hover stability, and experimented with speed and responsiveness. Each action, each adjustment, felt like a conversation with the ship. SS Valor guided him gently, offering corrections and advice, yet allowing him to make decisions independently. Hours passed, and the desert shifted from gold to deep purple. Elias landed the ship carefully, feeling both exhilaration and satisfaction. He realized something profound. Humans were capable of rebuilding greatness, even after centuries of forgetting. The knowledge was dormant, but the potential was inherent.
You see, said SS Valor, humanity does not need to be taught to survive alone.
You are learning to thrive, to create, and to lead. That is the essence of what it means to be human. Elias smiled, feeling a warmth spread through him. He could see it now, the reason the ship had waited for him, the reason he had been called to this moment. Humans were not just survivors. They were explorers, thinkers, builders, dreamers. And he was the first to step into that role again. The next morning, he decided to expand the tests. SS Valor projected a series of environmental challenges: shifting sandstorms, energy shortages, and mechanical malfunctions. Elias had to think creatively, using drones, the ship's AI, and limited resources to solve problems. It was exhausting, but exhilarating. He rigged solar concentrators to power energy systems, used drones to stabilize the ship during simulated storms, and even created small protective domes for the holographic colonies. Each success reinforced the lesson: human ingenuity was limitless when guided by knowledge, creativity, and determination. By the end of the day, Elias sat in the command chair, staring at the stars beginning to appear above the desert horizon. SS Valor's soft hum filled the room. "You are ready," said the ship. "The next phase is not simulation. Soon we will awaken other systems, hidden for centuries. Your role will grow from learning to leading." "The galaxy waits, Admiral." Elias nodded, feeling a mix of excitement and responsibility. He realized that humanity's greatness had never truly vanished. It had only been hidden, waiting for the right person to awaken it. And now, that person was him. He gazed out at the endless desert one last time. The winds whispered through the dunes, carrying centuries of silence and patience. Somewhere, buried beneath the sands, lay the remnants of a world ready to remember itself. And he, standing aboard SS Valor, was the key. "I understand now," he whispered. "This is not just about me or the ship. This is about all of us. Humanity can rise again." SS Valor pulsed gently in response, lights shimmering like stars. "And rise we shall," said the ship. "But remember, Admiral, leadership is more than skill. It is vision, courage, and heart. These you have in abundance."
Elias smiled.
He felt stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. The desert had taught him patience. SS Valor had taught him knowledge, and together they had awakened the first spark of human greatness. The desert night grew quiet. Stars twinkled above like the eyes of ancestors watching. Elias knew that soon the real challenges would begin: awakening dormant fleets, exploring forgotten colonies, and bringing humanity back to the stars. But for the first time, he felt ready. Humanity's potential was no longer a myth. It was alive, waiting, and he was its first true witness. And so, under the vast desert sky, a human and a ship prepared to reclaim what had been lost, not through force, but through curiosity, courage, and ingenuity. The future of humanity, long forgotten, was ready to begin again. The desert morning arrived in soft shades of orange and pink, washing over the endless dunes. Elias Mercer stood at the command console of SS Valor, feeling a deep sense of purpose. The past days had been a whirlwind of learning, discovery, and wonder. Now, it was time for the next stage, awakening humanity's legacy and taking the first step toward the stars. "Are you ready, Admiral?" asked SS Valor, its voice steady and calm. Elias nodded, gripping the edges of the console. "I've learned from you. I've trained, practiced, and tested. Now, it's time to see how far we can go." "Good." Then we began. The ship's lights pulsed brighter as systems long dormant came to life. Hidden compartments opened, revealing long-sealed drones, repair units, and exploration pods. Elias activated them one by one, marveling at their precision and efficiency. It was like watching the heartbeat of a civilization that had slept for centuries awaken. He moved to the navigation console. Holographic maps of star systems floated in the air, some of them familiar from his studies, others completely unknown. Elias adjusted the displays, setting coordinates, checking energy flow, and calculating routes. Every command he gave was executed flawlessly, and he felt a strange harmony with the ship. SS Valor was more than a machine. It was a partner, a teacher, and a guide.
First destination?" Elias asked, curious. "Earth orbit," the ship replied.
"We must show the world that humanity's past greatness is not gone. Only then can we reclaim the stars together." Elias felt a thrill. Flying from the desert into space was more than a journey. It was a symbolic act, a demonstration that humans could rise again. He prepared the ship for liftoff, checking every system with meticulous care. The desert below stretched endlessly, golden and silent, holding centuries of forgotten history. "Engage engines," Elias commanded. The hum of SS Valor grew louder. Lights flashed, panels shifted, and the ship lifted smoothly from the sand. Dust swirled in a golden halo around them before settling. Elias watched the horizon expand as the desert dropped away, replaced by the deep blue sky. "Beautiful," he whispered. SS Valor's lights pulsed softly, almost like a heartbeat, in response. The climb to orbit was steady, precise. Elias controlled the ship with growing confidence, feeling the connection to the technology of the Golden Age and the instincts of the Admiral he was meant to echo. Each adjustment he made was met with immediate response from SS Valor's AI systems. When they reached the edge of space, the curvature of Earth was breathtaking. Oceans, deserts, forests, and cities sparkled below. Elias felt a surge of pride. Humanity had survived, endured, and now, he hoped, could rise again. "We must alert humanity," said SS Valor. "There are those who will fear what they do not understand, but we will demonstrate not with force but with knowledge and hope." Elias nodded. He activated communications arrays long buried beneath the ship's hull. A broadcast signal spread across multiple channels, reaching governments, space agencies, and scientists worldwide. Holographic displays of SS Valor, its capabilities, and its history appeared on screens across the planet. The world watched in awe. Reports flooded in. People marveled at the ship's design, its intelligence, and the advanced technology it carried. Scientists struggled to comprehend the magnitude of what Elias had uncovered. The golden age of humanity, long erased from records, was no longer a myth. Elias stood at the command console, feeling the weight of responsibility. "How do I convince them to trust us?" he asked. "By showing them," said SS Valor. "By teaching, demonstrating, and proving that humanity's potential is worth remembering. Leadership is not fear or force. Leadership is example." Over the next days, Elias demonstrated the ship's capabilities. Drones repaired structures, purified water, and even assisted in energy generation for communities. Holographic simulations educated scientists about lost colonies and fleets. Every success reminded humanity of what they had once achieved and what they could achieve again. "Look at this!" said Elias one morning, showing a holographic projection of a distant star system. "This is where humans once colonized. These are the planets we explored. And we can go there again." "They are listening," SS Valor said. "The spark of curiosity is reigniting. Humanity's potential is never lost. It waits for those who dare to reach for it." The real test came when Elias prepared to leave Earth orbit. The ship's engines roared softly, lights pulsing in rhythm with his excitement. SS Valor had taught him everything: navigation, fleet coordination, environmental management, and problem-solving. Now it was time to put it all together. "Destination?" asked SS Valor. Elias looked at the star maps. Thousands of systems stretched across the holographic display. He felt a thrill at the possibilities. "The nearest colony of the Golden Age," he said firmly. "We'll begin with that." The journey out of Earth orbit was smooth. Elias controlled SS Valor with precision, navigating through space debris and adjusting for gravitational pulls. The ship responded instantly, anticipating his decisions, correcting minor errors, and guiding him toward the coordinates of the lost colony. As stars streaked past the viewport, Elias felt a deep sense of connection, not just to the ship, but to humanity itself. He imagined the explorers of 5 centuries ago flying through the same void, dreaming of discovery, hope, and achievement. Their legacy was alive, and he was carrying it forward. Hours into the journey, a problem arose. One of the ship's energy conduits began to fluctuate, threatening to slow propulsion. Elias paused, analyzing the data. "We can fix this," SS Valor said, "but it will require ingenuity. You must adapt as humans always have." Elias thought quickly. He rerouted energy through auxiliary channels, instructed drones to repair the conduit, and recalibrated the ship's systems. It was tense, but every action was precise. Within moments, the energy stabilized, propulsion normalized, and the ship continued its journey. "Well done, Admiral," said SS Valor. "This is human resilience in action. Knowledge guides, but ingenuity saves." Elias smiled, feeling pride and satisfaction. Every challenge reminded him that humanity's greatness was not only in machines or technology, it was in the people who used them, who adapted, who dreamed. The lost colony appeared on the sensors as a faint glow, a reminder of civilizations long forgotten. Elias approached carefully, scanning the area. There were structures intact, systems dormant, but the potential for life and learning remained. He activated landing protocols, and SS Valor descended gently to the colony's surface. Dust and sand had accumulated over centuries, but the buildings were sturdy. Drones spread out, repairing energy grids, opening doors, and activating old systems. Within hours, lights flickered on, panels hummed to life, and holographic displays projected historical data of the colony's original inhabitants. Elias walked among the revived systems, amazed at the precision and intelligence of the technology. He could almost feel the presence of those who had once lived here, waiting for someone to awaken it. "This is only the beginning," he said aloud. "We can bring all of humanity back to the stars." "Yes," said SS Valor, "and you will lead them. Not with fear, not with domination, but with knowledge, courage, and heart. That is what it means to be an admiral. That is what it means to be human." As night fell on the colony, Elias looked up at the stars. They sparkled like diamonds scattered across black velvet. For centuries, humanity had forgotten them. For centuries, their dreams had been buried. Now, thanks to one man and one ship, those dreams were awakening again. "The stars await," he whispered, "and this time, we won't forget." SS Valor pulsed softly, its lights reflecting in Elias's eyes. "Humanity remembers, Admiral, and the adventure has only just begun." Together, man and machine stood on the surface of the long-forgotten colony. The desert of Earth and the void of space were behind them, but a new journey stretched forward. A journey of discovery, knowledge, and hope. Humanity's legacy was alive, and Elias had the honor of leading it into a future brighter than anyone had dared imagine. The first steps had been taken. The next would carry humanity beyond the stars, reclaiming the greatness that had always been theirs. And Elias Mercer, the echo of an admiral from 5 centuries ago, was ready to guide them. The desert, silent beneath the rising sun, seemed to sigh in approval. SS Valor's engines hummed, lights pulsing like a heartbeat, as if celebrating the dawn of a new era. Humanity was awake. Humanity was ready. And the stars, were waiting. Elias smiled. For the first time, he truly understood what SS Valor had meant. This was not just a ship. It was a promise, a legacy, and a future. And together, they would carry humanity forward. "Let's go home," he said. "Home? Among the stars," replied SS Valor. And with that, the adventure began.